Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Nice. Somebody's excited.
Yep.
Yeah. Hold on a minute. You guys are coming through the speaker in the car.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds different.
I'll take a number 4.
Can I get it with the Coke and
exactly.
mayo? Thank you.
You know, I went to Taco Bell the other day, and I guess I guess I haven't gone in a while because I ordered a double-decker taco, and the lady promptly informed me that they don't do those anymore. They took that off the menu, right? And so there was a good 6 seconds of me just sitting there like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Right? What do I do? And then I was I thought, do you remember the episode of Family Guy when Stewie kidnaps the TNG crew?
Oh yeah.
And he takes them to the drive-thru at McDonald's, and I can't remember. Somebody wanted a McDLT, and they told him that it wasn't on the menu, and he was like, "They have everything they need to make it. They could just make it." I think it was Michael Dorn.
Yeah.
But so suddenly I was that guy. I'm telling this lady through the speaker, it's a hard taco inside a soft taco. Just make it.
I guess they don't believe in a secret menu. Yeah.
They didn't make it.
I haven't been to Taco Bell in so long. I think the only thing that's still on there from back when I used to go there would be bean burritos and Mexi Melts, and that's about it.
Yeah, the bean burritos get a little smaller every year.
Yeah.
Mexi Melt is my Tinder handle.
You are going to have a flood of requests if this goes out on the show now.
Nice.
I'll put it out.
That's pretty good.
So something's different with Chad. You look like the cover of the Blair Witch Project. You get all the lights turned out behind you.
Yeah, because the camera on this PC that I have, this piece of crap, is so bad.
PC stands for.
Yeah, that's what it stands for. If I have any other lights on, it's the exact opposite of the Blair Witch Project. Let me show you. You'll be like, oh, I get it.
All right, so this week he's the guy who gets up and walks away. That's usually my shtick.
I know.
Now I look like I'm coming to you live from somewhere up in heaven. I mean,
I was just gonna say, you look like you're about to meet St. Peter.
Yeah. This bright, shiny, blurry thing in the background that just won't there's nowhere that I can put this thing with the camera.
You know what you are right now?
What's that?
Your tapestry pad, Chad.
It does look good. It does look better lit than dark, honestly.
Does it? I'll leave it lit.
Yeah.
I'll leave it lit. I'm lit this morning, so.
Oh yeah.
I had lots of sugar. I had my chocolate checks mixed with my peanut butter checks, and oh man.
Yeah, that's a
pair.
I usually mix the rice checks and the corn checks because I'm too cheap to buy Crispix. But you're just taking it to a whole new level.
Yeah. Hey, they're on sale. They're $3 a box. I'm like, you can't go wrong, man. So
All right.
get them both.
I got a protein bar, so I'm good there.
Yep.
Well,
so I pulled this out this morning, which I bought about 20 years ago.
Nice.
That's great.
This was the one I got it through the it's like the Star Trek Communicator was the old magazine. And I remember when these came out, it was a big deal because they were, $100 or $200, and it was supposed to be a big deal. And I haven't put it on in about 20 years, and I couldn't zip it. The top is fine, but I can. I could zip it, but I wouldn't look so great. So yeah.
It looks nice though from the top half.
That's what I said. Nobody's gonna see me, from here down. So
we'll never know.
Yep. No one would have known except that I just told on myself.
Yeah, that's okay.
I just like that you're sitting in your neighborhood dressed like that.
I know.
Walking by,
like in your shuttlecraft.
Yeah. My wife, she's the president of the PTA, so she had a meeting. She's having a meeting inside, so I had to qualify things before I left. I said, "Hey, listen, I have a podcast. I do it from the car in the driveway. So when you leave, if you just see me sitting out there talking to myself, that's what's going on."
Someone needs to snap a picture of that and just put a tagline with no
yes.
context. You know, I mean, that would just be hysterical.
Well, it was even funnier when I was outside Burger King dressed like this the other day. So.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me play the show open so we can get going.
Okay.
Can we play that again? Maybe a little louder?
Neither one of us can really hear that.
Barely
That's
hear
the
that.
way the audio is coming out of his.
Yeah.
We're gonna barely be able to hear it, but on his end, it should be loud.
Let's try it one more time then. Let's see. Let's see if this is loud enough.
Space up time, space up time, it's space up time, it's space up time, space up, space up, space up, space up time.
Spaceship time. That's
Yes.
the for those that don't know, that's the Discovery season 3 opening intro.
Yeah.
They changed it up for season 3.
Well, so that comes to us from Mark Tolley. That's his daughter, and so we talked to Mark, and Mark was cool about letting us play it. He also said he wanted me to give a shout out to his podcast. I forget the name of it. War of the Stars. So
Okay.
there you
Cool.
go. Yeah.
What's his podcast about?
Star Wars.
Ah, okay. Well, I mean, I just had to lay it out there.
It's like Celebrity Deathmatch, but it's on a bigger scale. You pick a team.
Mm-hmm. I always go for Screech.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start a competing podcast, and I'm gonna call the podcast Jordy sent me. This way,
Yeah.
I know I'm covered no matter what.
Yeah. We do need to, by the way, at some point do like a special encore episode, and instead of it being TrekCast, we just call it Bitchcast, and we just let loose on everything we want to gripe about for the year.
That's cool.
Maybe we wait for the first episode of Discovery season 3 to do that.
That would probably be a good time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that might be a good one for our coffee account.
Yeah, that would be. Be.
So
Angry Chad comes out on the coffee account.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
All right. So, what do we do? We do news first? I forget.
Yeah, we'll do the news.
Okay.
Or what are you? Daniel's driving, so I don't know. I'm just sitting here talking now. It's kind of different. Oh.
Yeah, so I have all the sound effects now too. It's pretty fun.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So our first news story comes to us from space.com. And well, the headline reads, Patrick Stewart invites Whoopi Goldberg to reprise her TNG Guinan role on Star Trek Picard. So I don't know if you guys have seen the clip. Have you guys seen the clip?
Yeah, I saw the clip.
Okay, I'm gonna just play it.
I did.
Yeah, for the show.
Something that I need to bring up, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
I'm here with a formal invitation,
Oh.
and it's for you, Whoopi.
Oh, for me.
Alex Kurtzman, who is the senior executive producer of Star Trek Picard, and all of his colleagues, of which I am one, want to invite you into the second season.
So there you go. Whoopi's been invited. She goes on to say that she'll do it. So that's really cool. You know?
Yeah, she was speechless for like the next 10 minutes.
Yeah. So that makes me think that it was legitimately that they surprised her on the show.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, they wouldn't have put it out there like this if they're not really going to do it.
No.
How big her role will be in season 2, we don't know. She could just show up for an episode, you know?
Yeah, 10 minutes to kind of slap Picard in the face and get his act back together, kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
be the counselor that she really was on the show.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it makes sense. You know, the storyline that they're starting to tell involves the Borg, and we all know that, she lost her planet to the Borg.
Yep.
Right.
So I mean, there is a organic way to weave her storyline into this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. So our next news story comes to us from ScreenRant.com, and the headline reads: Constable Odo returns in Deep Space Nine comic book. So if you haven't heard, they are going back to Deep Space Nine for the first time in 10 years in the comics, and it's going to be an Odo-centered story. The miniseries is going to be called Star Trek Deep Space Nine: Too Long a Sacrifice. It's going to encircle a storyline about him trying to stop. Let's see, what is it? It's a noir-style thriller that will. He's trying to stop a killer on the station. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it looks just like him, so that's neat. And when does this come out?
Summertime, I thought.
Yeah, summertime. So.
Does it give any indication like what time period the story takes place in?
Just is in the middle of the Dominion War.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if that's before the station got taken over or after.
Yeah. Season 6, season 7, kind of.
Yeah.
More likely season 7, but yeah.
Yeah. It's hard
Somewhere
to tell. You can't judge it from his uniform because his uniform was always the same. So.
Yeah, because it was him.
Yeah.
It wasn't always the same. There were slight differences. The collar changed from the first season to the second season, and he wore a belt. He wore a belt for like 15 minutes.
Yeah. I do recall the belt. Saga. That was drama of high order.
He doesn't have the belt in here, and Cisco's got the gray top. So.
Yeah, it's got to be towards the end there.
Yeah.
Gray top. There it is.
There it is. There it is.
That's
does
what I'm
his,
I keep
does
feeling
his
like
zip up all the way?
Well, Cisco's drawn, so yes.
Yeah.
I don't think the real guy could zip it up right now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, but I keep looking around because I feel like I'm missing something. Like there's something wrong, and I keep missing something, and I know exactly what it is. I don't have a coffee down here with me to drink while we're doing this. So you both have got Drew. I thought you had a drink, Dan, but I saw Dan
I got nothing.
Drink, and I'm like, dang it, where's my coffee? Crap. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, our last news story comes to us from thegothamist.com, and the headline reads: Limited edition Star Trek Picard Metro cards available at 6 subway stations. So this is for all our New Yorkers out there, Dan. You realize
as of last week, I no longer work in New York City.
I know.
Yeah.
I transferred to a different office, but
if any of the three of us could do this, it's you.
Yeah. So get in the car and drive down there anyway.
Yeah, I'm taking orders for Metro cards. If any of the listeners out there want a limited edition Patrick Stewart Metro card, hit me up.
Or number one, the dog.
Oh, number one? There's a number one also?
Did you see how they picked which Metro stops had the cards at them and which ones don't?
Yeah. It makes the Starfleet logo.
It makes a Starfleet logo on the map.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
That was pretty well thought out.
Yeah. It definitely was. And apparently, what is it? The Picard cards are only available through the vending machines.
Can we just call them the Picards?
The Picards
yeah.
are the vending machine. And number one is through the booth. So
okay.
That's how you got to get. Yeah, booth fee.
Through the booth fees.
Through the booth fees.
So there's a question. Picard. We're wading our way into Picard. Is Boothby still around? You think he's like 170 years old, still digging up weeds?
I hope not.
There's no need for that. There's no need for that. So that was your last news story?
That was my last news story, yes.
So you're not going to mention the one that I'm pulling up right now about Will Wheaton?
What about
Will Wheaton? Will
Wheaton? Yeah, so he did some sort of an interview on either his podcast or one of his podcast buddies' shows, and I've got the little clip here that he says right here. Yeah, as far as actually ever showing up in Picard, I might. There's talk about season 2, season 3, but we have to figure out how to fit the Traveler into that.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm kidding. I just totally made that up.
Yeah.
You hurt me so deep.
You know, my nerd rage began welling up inside of me.
It's not funny, but I get it.
It's a joke.
Because I'm like, the Traveler, you don't need to travel. You were at Riker's wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my nerd rage welling up.
Such anger, such hostility.
We talked before about trying to throw in a fake news story and seeing if anybody could sniff it out, so it felt like doing it today.
I thought we only did that for April Fools, but it's cool.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
That is wrong. I screwed it up.
Yeah, it's fine.
Speaking of that, the funny little side story here about the chattiswrong thing. I tried for 4 hours yesterday to order my own hoodie off of our website.
And?
Can't do it.
Really?
Yeah, it's like it's the most frustrating thing in the world. Like that Redbubble site is just really frustrating to order what you want off of it. We're gonna have to look at that and see if there's some sort of fix. But literally on and off yesterday for about 5 hours, I tried to order a freaking hoodie and couldn't do it. So, but anyway.
Yeah, no, that's not cool.
No. I
will take a look at that.
Okay.
No wonder we don't get so many sales on that.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain. Oh well. I'm sure we'll get it figured out.
Yeah. All right.
All right, that's news. Moving on into feedback.
Yes.
Hailing frequencies. Open.
I'm trying to find my my list on the Facebook group because now I'm completely driving the show.
Yeah, you do that while I read one of the emails we got.
You got
it. Do what?
Do you have the email? Yeah. If you got
I have an email that came into Chat is Wrong. So
go for it.
From Jason Cooper, he says, "Hey guys, get my nerd alert ready. It's kind of a stretch, but it's a neat little bit of head canoning. Bear with me. While getting my TNG review done in preparation for Picard, I noticed a name casually tossed out there that caught my ear. During the cave meeting in Conspiracy, the other captains tell Picard of a series of accidents that have happened to other, apparently high-level Starfleet officers. One of the names mentioned is Una Carpadelis. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Una is not the most common name. The only other Una they've ever mentioned is number 1 from The Cage. We never heard a name until Disco, but what if? I did the math. Conspiracy was 2364, The Cage 2254, 100 years. But remember, McCoy was 137 during TNG Encounter at Farpoint. Could number 1 and Una Carpleiades, maybe that's what I pronounce it, be one and the same? Something to ponder. Anyway, dig the cast. Truly the most unpredictable. You guys really do a good job. Keep it up. Jason Cooper, Superior Township, Michigan. So there we go. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a good little pickup. I had never noticed that. That's pretty good.
Neither did I. No, that's a good nod though.
It is a good nod.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other feedback there? You got ready for the Facebook side?
Yeah, so we've got a bunch. I posted on there that we were going to be reviewing the show, first episode of Picard. So there's a lot of people talking about Picard and their impressions. So maybe we'll talk about that when we talk about the review. Okay. But there was something I wanted to bring up. Jay Gold had put something, first comment on there, that number 1 is better than Porthos. And I said on the Facebook group that I will address this on the show. So now is the time. Jay Gold, I don't want to say that you're wrong, but you're wrong. Porthos is the man. Don't ever deny it. And to point that even better, if you watched the Will Wheaton after show for Picard, they talk to the producers of the show and they talk about number 1 specifically and what it was like working with that dog. And in no uncertain terms, they say you will not be seeing much more of the dog. You're too difficult to work with. And you know what? Never had those problems with Porthos. So sorry, Jay.
Porthos, they said the dog was too difficult to work with?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a rescue.
It was a rescue. It was a train, really. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a rescue dog. So as someone who has rescued dogs, you cut them some slack because they're rescue dogs and you're doing the right thing and giving them a home and if you weren't there to rescue them, a different fate may become of them. So
right.
So I cut him some slack for being a rambunctious pit bull, as I've had one myself.
Mm-hmm. As a dog, that's cool, but as an actor, no.
He's got to respect the craft.
Exactly. Porthos does. So
the pit bull they used in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was about the best behaved dog I've ever seen on film in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the same dog, obviously, because at first I thought it was, because they look almost. I mean, their ears are almost identical. The face is almost. They look identical to me, but apparently not. So, okay.
Okay. So that was the big one. The rest of it is just stuff about the show. So we can go about that when we're talking about the show.
I'm just happy to see more dogs in Star Trek. They're underrepresented in Star Trek. Get woke, bro.
That's right. No Spot, no cat, though? I mean.
Yeah. What about the cats and the goldfish? And
nobody's got a hamster?
We'll have Jean-Luc. We'll have a flashback of Jean-Luc and Enterprise J rescuing animals 2 by 2 as they go up into a large shuttlecraft of some kind.
Yes. Yeah. So when they talk about his arc, they really meant an arc?
Yeah. An arc, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Very cool. All right. Well, yeah, so that's basically it for that. Wow, we're kind of moving through this, aren't we?
We got some important stuff to talk about.
We're excited about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Just go.
All right, let's get to the topic.
Play the topic music.
Talking about Star Trek in this week's topic. Talking about the Star Trek in this week's topic.
All right, so do we have to say spoiler warning? Because, damn it, there's gonna be
just a few.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Picard, just turn it off.
Yeah, you shouldn't even be listening.
There's nothing for you here.
Nope.
That's right.
Nope.
Yeah. So, did you guys watch it?
I've watched it 3 times now.
Wow.
I tried to watch The Ready Room on 2 separate occasions with Will Wheaton, and I just can't. I can't do it.
He's terrible.
He's not a good host. I mean, okay, so I'm going to be a hypocrite here for a minute, but the biggest part of the problem for me is the sound and the look. It looks like it was filmed on a tin can and a potato in 1987. Now, I understand that some people are going to be laughing right now going, yeah, Chad, and you sound like you're talking through a tin can and your guys' production values aren't always the best. But, we are just 3 guys who do this for fun.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be CBS, for God's sakes, putting this thing together. And if I was Will Wheaton, I'd be freaking embarrassed. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. He's better than that. He's worth more than that. Throw some actual effing money behind it a little bit and produce it to where it looks better. And
honestly,
actually put it on CBS All Access. Is it on CBS All Access, or is it just on their Facebook thing?
No, it's on CBS All Access.
Did they put it over there too? Okay. Well, see, that makes it even worse then. If they were just going to leave it on Facebook and maybe YouTube and not put it on CBS All Access, then maybe I could make an argument that they didn't need to go all out with it. But my goodness. So, I don't know. I couldn't watch it. I just couldn't watch it.
I'm really surprised they didn't do what they've done before, which is, remember Discovery season 1 and 2, I think. They put out the first episode on YouTube to kind of entice people to it. They didn't do that with Picard.
No, they felt like they didn't need to.
I'm surprised the first episode of Discovery, they put it on CBS broadcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Remember?
Yeah. Oh, well.
That was a less known quantity with Picard. I mean, everybody and their brother is going to sign up for CBS All Access to watch that. So
that's true.
You know what I mean? That's a whole nother ball of wax. So they didn't need to make that extra effort. And if they come back out with it later on in the year and put it somewhere, then maybe that might be a smart move. Sometime over the summer, put the first one out just for the heck of it and promote it on CBS itself so that anybody who hasn't gone and done it yet might be interested. So it's not like anybody who's watched CBS at all, live television wise for the last 2 months hasn't seen 50 trailers. So
right.
It's all over the place.
Well,
but, yeah.
Dan, how many times did you see it?
Twice.
Twice?
Yeah, and I think I need to watch it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that before going into the second episode, I want to make sure I understand exactly what's going on.
Oh, I'll definitely watch it again.
Some of the Android stuff was a little difficult to follow.
Yeah. I saw it twice as well. So you guys have, okay, so we've all seen it multiple times. Do you think it got better with multiple viewings?
Not for me.
I don't know. I only watched it twice, so.
I honestly think it was better the second time for me.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the first time I watched it, it was too much going on, and I don't want to say I was disappointed, but I felt like it wasn't what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt underwhelmed. The second time around, though, I felt like I caught a lot more, and it was far more interesting.
Yeah, that's why I want to watch it again, because the second time I did take notice of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's probably other things that I'll catch the third time around.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on.
That's probably the two things. If I had to gripe about anything about it at all, and I'd kind of push myself to say it because I'm not sure. I still don't know exactly how I feel about the first episode, to be completely honest with you guys. It's kind of hard to wrap my head around, but just for how I enjoyed it. Let's put it that way. I mean, sure, I enjoyed it, but the pacing was really fast, and a lot of things that we kind of assumed or thought that were going to happen in this show happened in the first 30 freaking minutes, not the whole season. And so it was like, oh, that's
okay
all.
Though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's okay though, because there's nothing worse than seeing a trailer for a movie and then you go sit down and the entire movie was in the trailer and you feel like you got nothing out of sitting there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So if everything we knew was going to happen just about already happened, I'm fine with that, because that means there's 9 more episodes of content for me to consume.
Sure. No, and I totally get that. I just, the pacing is so fast, and things like, okay, they just set this up 30 seconds ago, and now they tore it down. There's a lot of that. It feels like to me, and it's not a big gripe. It was just kind of like, man, that was quick. That they went through a lot of things quick. Him figuring out who she is, that felt quick, and it was supposed to be, I guess, but. That's probably one of the only things I can really nitpick, other than her necklace isn't unusual. It's 2 rings on it. It's 2 rings on a necklace. I mean, it's not that unusual, but okay, whatever. I'm done. So those are my only complaints.
I mean, go ahead, Daniel.
I was gonna say there's something I noticed that, like, I don't know. I haven't heard anyone talk about it, so maybe it's nothing. But when Data puts down his hand of cards, it's 5 queens, right?
Yeah.
And then later, when they first attack Dodge, the first thing those guys tell her is, "Where are the rest of you?"
Yeah.
Not where's your sister or where's the other one? Where are the rest of you? So, is there really 5 of them?
Did they say the rest of you or the rest of them?
The rest of them.
Yeah.
Where's the rest of them? Yeah. So I mean
that doesn't mean that there's 5 of her or multiples of her.
There's 5 of something like her.
I don't think it's even 5. I think here's the thing: when he puts down the queens, everything you see in that scene has to be taken with a grain of salt. Okay, I saw a lot of people complaining about that scene because they said, oh, it's the Enterprise D, but the uniform he's wearing he didn't have until that ship was already gone, and Will Wheaton made reference to them sitting in 10 forward, but it doesn't look anything like the 10 forward.
Yeah, that's what I was like,
we know.
Yeah.
And I responded to somebody who was complaining about this.
Bye, and PCA lady.
Yeah. Caught that, huh?
I did.
But that whole sequence was a dream.
Yeah.
Okay. So the fact that he's wearing the wrong uniform on the wrong Enterprise, it doesn't matter, because we've all had that dream where you're at work, but it's not somewhere you really work, but you work there in the dream and it seems normal in the dream, or you're home, but it's not your house. It's some other house that you've been in. It's your neighbor's house from 40 years ago, but you know, in the dream, it's your house and it's totally normal. You know, there was a lot of that in that scene. Right
It's supposed to feel
down
disjointed. Yeah.
Yeah, right down to Picard asking him if he wants milk and sugar in his tea. And then Picard proceeds to put milk and sugar in his own tea, which A, he's never done that.
Right.
And B, if you get your nerd alert ready.
Oh, it's ready.
If you remember from All Good Things, when they're visiting Data at he was the Lucasian chair at I can't remember what university it was, but he had the his maid offered Picard some tea, and she asked him what he wanted in it, and the way he responded, he said nothing. Like why would you put anything in tea? It's just water and tea leaves. So, you know, he definitely doesn't drink tea with sugar. He definitely doesn't drink it with milk. But in this dream sequence, he did. So, you know, everything in that whole sequence is wrong, and it's okay.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, when the show opened with a shot of the Enterprise D, did you guys smile a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I turned to my wife and I said, "Wow, it's been a while."
I like that opener. It's long. It's a little too long, but I still like it. I enjoy it. I especially love the shot of the Enterprise looking tiny inside that nebula from way up above it. That's just beautiful. That's beautiful.
You know,
And
this is the first.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say kudos to these guys again, making another show that, if anything, is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's very pretty.
The CGI is gorgeous. The sets are gorgeous. The coloring scheme is gorgeous. Everything, the uniforms. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just Daystrom Institute was awesome looking. Starfleet with the all the solar panels on the Golden Gate Bridge. That was just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. So
the Ferengi are in Boston.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Boston looked awesome. This movie kind of looked a little Blade Runner-ish, a little in places, but it was gorgeous, you know.
Down to the androids, they're all replicants apparently.
Yeah, they're replicants. That's right. So, well, actually, they're Cylons because you know they you can't tell by.
I thought that too.
They're more like Cylons, but anyway, no, it's gorgeous, definitely gorgeous. Go ahead, Dan. You were gonna say something.
I was just gonna say this is the first Star Trek opening ever that contains a visual of the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we only had one opening that had people in it. That was Enterprise, but that was all, you know, old news footage. But none of the characters from the show. This is the first time that they've actually have a character in the opening sequence. Thought that was interesting.
I like how they did the glass, kind of like the cracking and the one piece kind of falling down and moving that back over to kind of put Picard back together again towards the end. That was nice. It's nice.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yep.
You know, I thought it was very action packed too. I was surprised how action packed it was. You know, I like the fight choreography. I think it's better than some movies.
You know, I like how when they attacked him and what is their name? Dahj.
D-A-H-J.
Okay.
Or D-A-H-J. Dahj.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. She's dead now, so.
Yeah.
Maybe she is. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. They're gonna recreate her from one neuron. But but I liked how when they attacked and they are running from the attackers, you know, Picard is struggling to keep up. I'm really glad that they, you know, he's a 90-year-old man and they understand that and they wrote the character that way, and they're not going
90-year-old
to have.
man in the show, but in reality, Patrick Stewart's like what, 85, 84?
It's
Yeah.
like 70 something.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I saw some guys on Facebook kind of giving a shit about that. So just
Yeah,
wanted to...
Well, I'm just glad they don't have him, throwing punches.
yeah.
Well,
Wham.
Judo chop.
we still haven't seen the sword fight yet. So,
Yeah, we haven't seen the sword fight yet, so who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, that could
that's
be
a
the
little-
Phantom Menace right there, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
You could drink some Romulan ale beforehand and a little more limber. But anyway, my wife watched the show with me on the first time we watched that Thursday night. I made sure to be home Thursday night so we could watch it together. I drove 4.5 hours out of the frozen tundra that is Nebraska to make sure we could watch it together. Anyway,
they didn't have a Burger King in Nebraska that you could have watched it at.
Oh, I could have done that. At the either at the Buc-ee's gas station somewhere or Saps Brothers or whatever. But anyway, when she was watching that with me, she's like, does this feel or look like a Star Trek show to you? And I'm like, not really. No, It doesn't. And that's okay. I don't want it to look and feel like TNG from the 80s and 90s. That would be, I guess, I don't know. I'd probably like that because I like the Orville. So I don't know. But, but I don't know. I like how they made it look. So anyway.
It looks like
fight scene. She's like, "Wow, this is the most violent Trek I've ever seen." I said, "You should watch Wrath of Khan."
it looks like Discovery. It looks like JJ era Trek.
That's what we're gonna get with this.
But
team.
it's not. But it's not turned up to 10.
Yeah.
I didn't see any lens
they
flares.
dialed it down. Yeah, exactly. They dialed it down a bit.
Yeah.
And they needed to, and they should have. So kudos to them for that.
And it's obvious because when he's sitting in for the interview and they're doing the intro and she's introducing him and they're showing still photographs from the actual TNG show, it looks awkward to see those photographs in this show because the style is so different. So
I feel like, watching it, I feel like they learned a lot of lessons from Marvel in how to do Easter eggs and how to do callbacks more subtly than blatant.
Yeah.
You know, it really seems that way. It also makes me think, because you can tell that they really laid out the story and they really have a plan for season 1 at least. It makes me wonder if the whole Red Angel thing was so thrown together because they were so focused on this show, because it's a lot of the same producers and writers.
Yeah, it is.
You know, one thing I also noticed too was in the show open. This was I first heard about this on. You guys ever watch Red Letter Media on YouTube?
No.
Yes.
So they do a big breakdown on Discovery, and one of the things they pointed out is that Discovery is the producer's show. The opening, there's like 20 producers if you look at that opening. Same thing with Picard. That opening credit, there's at least a dozen of them. So that's kind of, to me, that's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. But I mean, so far so good. You know?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So callbacks and Easter eggs. I feel like they totally glazed over one that definitely should have been there. Picard says at one point, Data always wanted a daughter. And I'm screaming at the screen, yeah, and he had one.
Yeah.
And there's been zero mention of that. And I find it really strange. They went out of their way to show B4 and basically said, we know we set this up 20 years ago for him to come back as B4, but we are letting you, the viewer, know we're confronting this head on. That's not happening. We don't care what the comic book said. What they did at the end of Nemesis didn't work. So here's B4. He's in a drawer. He's going to stay there. So, okay. But then they totally glaze over the fact that Lal,
that was his first daughter, yeah.
Yeah, we never found out what happened to her.
Yeah.
She obviously died, but what happened to her body? Did he, was she cremated? Was she put back in the replicator? Was she in his lab on the Enterprise D, just sitting in a locker? Does Data have an archive room at Starfleet somewhere with all of his stuff in it?
That was an interesting concept, the archive room. We'll get to that in a minute. Keep going.
Yeah.
My point is they didn't mention it, and they especially didn't mention it when they should have mentioned it. And I'm wondering if they're going to address it later on, or
they still might,
or if they're just going to forget about it.
They would kind of have to if they're going to bring Maddox back in at some point in this season, because obviously they are.
Oh, for sure they're going to.
Yeah, hopefully it's the same actor. That would be great.
Is that guy still alive?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That is a good question. Yeah.
What is that guy? What was that guy's name? I mean, it was only episode he ever appeared on.
I
remember that much. But anyway.
They made reference to him later on, but he only appeared in the one episode.
Right. Yeah, I remember season 4 or something, Data's Day or whatever. He's sending information back to him, but yeah, he never actually appeared onto it again. So obviously he's going to show up again, and if he does in this series, in this first season anyway, then they have to make at least some sort of mention about it.
The other thing is, where's Lore? I mean, we know he was shut down at the end of Descent,
but they kept him. They didn't destroy him, did they? Yeah, exactly. So we got Lau's body, we got Lore's body that are still out there. All you need is some way to kind of reverse engineer him, and now Maddox has got what he wanted. Instead of having Data, he'd have Lore. So
the other thing is
oh my god, yeah, he's still alive.
What's that?
That dude is still alive, and he looks way different now.
Yeah.
Oh no, what's his name? I'm gonna look him up.
Brian Brophy, Brophy.
Jeez, I went to high school with a Brian Brophy, but it wasn't him.
Say his last name again. B what?
Brophy.
Brophy.
Yeah. He
Oh wow.
Yeah, he'll go to the PTA meetings with you.
Yeah. he looks like a nutty professor that you try to learn calculus from, and you could never understand what he was saying because he was talking too fast.
Like a dude who really loves the Spin Doctors.
Yes. He is definitely a Ben Folds 5 fan.
I love Ben Folds 5.
So do I know.
So here's my thing.
I'm drowning slowly. Had to fix in some singing there. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So they make it sound like they've been working on androids for decades and trying to perfect them, and but there's no mention of sentient holograms, which are essentially the same thing. It's an artificial intelligence, except instead of having a physical body, they have a projected body.
Right.
So, why are they still trying to perfect the positronic brain when they've perfected the holographic matrix already? It seems like two similar technologies that they're just kind of ignoring one of them.
Well, yeah, to me it seems like a Blu-ray and HD DVD. Like pick a format and just go with it. You've already got a mobile emitter, reverse engineer that. Now you can create your artificial life forms, however you want.
Well, there's an easy answer for that. There's a real easy answer for this.
What's that?
They banned the synthetics, the androids, but they kept the EMHs or whatever, the holographs basically, because the holographs are a hell of a lot easier to control than the synths are, as evidenced by they're using one to run the archive. They're using a holographic character who is smiling and is a little emotional, but you can tell she's not the full range of what Robert Picardo's EMH was, and that's on purpose because they can control that. They can leave it as an essential artificial and not give it enough to go any further than that. And you still have to have a portable holographic generator in order for them to leave whatever area they're supposed to be in. So you would want that form factor more than you would the android from the standpoint of being able to control it. So
right. Okay.
So that would be why. And I would imagine that if they ban the sense, then okay, great, fine, whatever. You're still going to have holographic workers on somewhere doing routines tasks for you. You wouldn't have synthetics, but you'd have holograms doing it. So photons be free, be damned. That book was probably burned. So
it's Fahrenheit 451 of photons be free.
Yeah. There's a very, very dark time for Starfleet. They've retracted from the rest of the universe. They're pulled back in. They're more self-interested in what they're doing. They've banned synthetics, and now they're enslaving all the EMHs all across the land. So, burning any books that say otherwise.
So that's a good point. What do you think about the whole the Federation didn't want to help out the Romulans after the Rescue Armada was destroyed, and people just kind of gave up, and that's why Picard quit? Like,
it sounds like politics. I mean, it's not like Starfleet's ever been immune to politics. It's a very political organization, always has. But there's always been some infighting between admirals and who's doing this and who's doing that. I mean, the Romulans have always been kind of a thorn in the Federation's side for a long time, up until the Dominion War. Hello, Romulans kind of saved us, So you would think that there'd be more willingness by the rest of the Federation itself to try to at least save some people. So it seems kind of an odd. It seems like kind of an odd stance to take. Although you could, I'm sure there's a million ways you can come up with reasonable explanations as to why. There could be lots of things going on. So
I think you could mention the Dominion War. You could just say after the Dominion War, they were just so depleted anyways, and for a decade or so, and so when this happened, we wanted to help, and then when the ships were destroyed, we just ran out of stuff.
Well, it's not just that the ships were destroyed. If you remember, the shipbuilding facility for the Federation is on Mars.
Yeah.
Right.
So not only did they destroy the fleet that was supposed to rescue the Romulans, but they destroyed the means to create another fleet.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but that's not the only shipbuilding facility in the entire Federation.
It's
it's the main one though, and you can't help your neighbor if you're in no position to help yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to help my neighbor anytime I can, but if it comes down to me or him, it's me every time.
Right.
And it doesn't sound nice to say that, and it doesn't feel good to say that, but you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Picard didn't agree.
Yeah. Well, Picard probably saw another way to be able to at least continue to help without just cutting it off completely, which I'm sure there was some way to do something. Like I said, it could not have been the only shipbuilding facility in the whole Federation. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of ships somewhere.
They were also wondering, is this the first of other attacks that are going to come, and we have to protect the homeland while we're we don't know enough about this attack.
No, we don't.
What caused this attack, the events leading up to it. I mean, if they had intelligence that there were 5 other targets, and they got to put what's left of Starfleet on high alert. They can't be traipsing around the Romulan Empire, ferrying people to other planets. So
there's also an issue of timing as well. They didn't know when the star was going to go supernova. They just knew it was, and it was going to happen any time now. They had no idea what their actual timetable was. So could have ran out of time too.
Well,
for all we know.
So towards the end of the episode,
or they thought Spock was going to fix it. Spock said he had a plan.
Yeah, his squid ship with the red matter, it didn't happen. So, it didn't happen. But, okay, so that brings up another thing, too. I just lost my train of thought, though. With the okay, keep going, Daniel, and I'll think of it here in a second. You were going to say something?
Yeah. I was gonna bring up towards the end of the episode, or the end of the episode, when we're looking at the Borg ship and all the Romulans are on there. We see Dodge's sister, I forget her name, and she's talking to that Romulan who looks like he's in Coldplay, And
I thought that was new Spock at first.
Yeah.
When he came,
kind of,
when
yeah.
he came walking out, I was like, "What are they doing? This
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense."
So she mentions that she has a sister, and he mentions that he has a brother. And my thought was, wasn't there like a Romulan adversary for Picard, like Tomalak, or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Could
Yeah.
that be his brother? Maybe, like, doesn't mean they're close in age. Like, I feel like they're gonna tie him back somehow to TNG. Like, you don't drop a line that, "Oh, I've got a brother and we were close," or something like that.
Well, his brother could be Picard's butler.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah. Those two, by the way, come from, in the comic, they come from when Picard is on one of the Romulan planets at the beginning of the comics anyway, that lead up to the show. They're supposed to be members of the Tal Shiar, and they're spies that have decided not to report back to Romulus because they fell in love. And so they kind of help Picard out, and they stage a rebellion on the planet to break him out of prison, because the governor of that Romulan colony or whatever is basically trying to take over the Enterprise and only save herself instead of the sentient alien slaves they have on the planet there that grow all their wine for them. So, that's why they come to his vineyard. Anyway, the thing I was thinking of that I lost my train of thought of, in the comics leading up to this, there's only 2 that have been released, or is there 3? 3 have been... 2 have been released. 2 out of the 3 have been released so far. There's 3 of them in the series.
The last one comes out this Wednesday, I think.
That's right. It comes out right before the next episode. And the reason they didn't release it beforehand probably has something to do with the fact that in the first 2 or the first episode, or one of the 2 first comic books anyway, there's a couple of scenes where Picard is talking to Geordi. Geordi is on Mars building those fleets of ships. So they're setting this up, and the reason they left the 3rd comic out, they're setting this up to where Geordi dies in the comics.
Yeah.
Or we see a flashback of him dying, or we just hear that he dies off screen in the series. How does that sit with you guys? Because I don't like that. We talked about this last week a little bit, but it's a possibility. But it seems like it's going to be a thing now. I don't see how it's not.
I hope it's not the case, man. I want LeVar back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like LeVar Burton. I've always liked LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
I always liked Geordi. I think he got I would have liked to have seen more Geordi episodes on TNG. I think he has a less than desirable legacy on that show.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have seen some more of him, and I still would love to see some more of him. That being said, if it serves the purpose of the story for them to kill him off, I will learn to live with it. But I really hope they show it on the show. I really hope LeVar gets to take part in that. If he dies on the panel of a comic book, and that's the end, and that's the end of his Star Trek career, Star Trek tenure, however you want to say it, I wouldn't be too happy about that.
No,
I don't think you can do that, because there's too much between Data and Geordi, like how much Geordi physically took apart Data and understood how he worked, for not to have a scene with Picard now to be like, hey, these are Data's daughters. Do you know anything about it? How would this work? Like, Geordi would be too much of a resource for Picard to not have that available. So I don't think they killed him off in the comic. I hope not. I think they're gonna say he was down at Starfleet, or a million other reasons why he wasn't there at that time during the attack.
Or he just survived it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because after all,
this is my daddy.
So.
I can barely hear that.
Oh, it's just Geordi talking about Picard.
This is my daddy.
So it'll be okay.
Let's hope so.
Hopefully.
Let's hope so.
So they showed a picture of Worf. So I'm hoping that means that any Klingons that show up in this show will be TNG style Klingons.
Well, they kind of have to be after showing a picture of Worf standing next to Picard right there.
That's what I'm saying. They
Yeah.
showed a picture. I'm hoping that that's what that means.
What if that also means that 930 years in the future on season 3 of Discovery, the Klingons look like Discovery from TNG?
They look like what?
Like the Klingons from TNG. What if they just completely walk it back even more and make them look normal again?
That's fine.
It'd be fine. I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
It's like it's basically they're admitting we screwed up. Sorry.
I mean, they changed them from season 1 to season 2.
They did. They milked them down a little bit.
Yeah.
Watered them down. Water them down some more. Make them look right.
Yeah.
So the painting.
Yeah.
Is that from the show? I know Data did a lot of paintings.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No. Okay.
You know, if it was from the show, we would have seen it on all sorts of Facebook postings by now.
Okay.
Oh, look, on this episode, it was on. Yeah. No, it's not.
At minute 3:45, still frame 2.
Yeah, exactly. That
you can see how they did it wrong because she was on the opposite side. See that? And it wasn't the white cloak. Yeah.
All right, you realize the people you're making fun of, we are those people.
Yeah, we are those people.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
All right, good. As long as you know that.
Little self humor there.
Yeah.
So why did I miss something? Why are there 2? And why does he have both of them? And why does he need to go to the archives to pull one out and look at it when he has one on the wall in his house? I don't know if I missed something there or
those things are always done in pairs now. They're twins.
Well,
that's
just like
the other.
Star Wars, there are 2, a master and apprentice.
Yeah, the dyad or whatever. Yeah. I don't know why there's 2. One's unfinished and one is finished. I don't know. Maybe Data just decided he was going to make 2 of them, one to give Picard.
Which one was unfinished?
Well, after the end of the episode, one is finished. That's for sure.
Well, no, the one that was above, yeah, the one that's above his thing in the study doesn't have her face in it.
Okay, hold on a minute.
The one in the archive does.
Okay, so why? If your friend gave you 2 pictures that he did, one is complete and one he never got around to finishing, which one are you going to hang up in your house?
The finished one.
Okay.
Well, maybe not because it's preserved in that neat little fold-up origami thing that was controlling its temperature and humidity and everything inside of it, and the oxygen and nitrogen levels. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
So.
But we don't know like how Data gave him those pictures. Like it could have been like there was more meaning behind the unfinished one because maybe that was the last thing he was working on before he died. So that's why you would hang. We don't know. So
okay.
You know.
Okay. I'll buy that.
Yeah. There's enough reason. There's enough reasonable reasons to come up with that it makes sense, but at the same time, it was a little odd. There's an unfinished painting in your study, the finished ones in your archives in San Francisco. Why in the world do you even have archives like that to begin with? And if so, why isn't it at Chateau Picard instead of all the way over there? Like, does someone at Starfleet need access to your Picard Day banner every once in a while for some reason? I mean, what I understand the whole idea or concept of an archive like that to keep like a lockbox at a bank, I guess, I suppose. But wouldn't it make more sense to install that at the chateau and at the family residence?
No, because you could transport. Yeah, you can transport anywhere on Earth within seconds.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Distance is really irrelevant.
Yeah, that's true. I did like their new little terminals, their little gates you walk through and just people popping in and out.
Yeah, they kind of took the transporter pad and turned it on its side.
Yeah, that's a takeoff of the JJ verse in Yorktown.
Yeah,
they did that in Yorktown, where they had those little things too.
What's Yorktown?
Yorktown was the big snow globe in space getting ready to crack, according to Bones in Star Trek Beyond.
Oh, I saw that once.
I've seen it multiple times. Yeah,
but nobody's perfect.
Walk in. Yeah, exactly. So Chad is wrong. So when they first walk onto that station and they're walking and everybody's kind of going their separate ways, you see people just walking through these things and popping in and popping out real quick. Well, not quite as fast as what they were doing in Picard, but kind of the same concept anyway.
Yeah.
So pretty slick.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Pretty slick. So that was anything else for that episode?
So I do have a preview for an upcoming episode. I was able to find a clip of Riker and Picard talking.
Yeah.
And Riker asking Picard some questions. If you want, I can play the soundbite from that.
Is it from the next episode, or is it just somewhere down the line?
I think it's somewhere down the line. I don't know. But I don't think this gives anything away. All right, here we go. So this is Picard. This is Riker asking Picard questions.
Okay.
How much money would it take to make you spend a night in the cemetery? Do you display this as a trophy? Do you have a pet? In the power of a curse.
Sorry, just had to do that.
Had me going. I'm like, what the hell?
Is that his show, Fact or Fiction? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Please believe it or not. Yeah.
Somebody supercut a bunch of questions of him. I found that. I'm like, oh, I know what to do with this.
Yeah. That's pretty good. You had me going, man.
Nice.
All right, so that was episode 1, Remembrance. Hannah Culpepper directed that one. Episode 2 is Maps and Legends, also directed by Hannah Culpepper. After that, next 2 after that are both directed by Jonathan Frakes, but we don't know what their names are yet.
No, we don't know. And remember, they said that these episodes were in blocks.
Yep.
2 episodes to go together, so I guess just like daughters, apparently. There are 2.
Just like the twins, yeah.
Yeah.
Got to make them in pairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Pairs, but I don't think it matters. If you have to, maybe you make them in pairs just from the way you have to extract or pull out the data from the positronic neurons or something. I don't know, but
I don't know. I guess when you're making a replicant, you got to make 2. So
right, in case one dies.
That's dark.
It's a bad.
So I'd be interested to find out. She's actual flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm.
So that had to come from somewhere. They had to clone somebody to create those bodies. So I'm wondering if that genetic material belongs to someone significant, or if that's just not something they'll explore.
Oh, I don't know.
Could she? What I mean is, could she be the daughter of Data and Picard? If she's a and I'm just throwing that out there, just saying, if her body is created from genetic material taken from Picard, and her brain is created from Data's neurons or whatever they were saying, I don't know, I have to watch it again. She is essentially the love child of Data and Picard.
See, my thought was she might have come from. Remember in First Contact when you had the little pieces of skin?
Yes.
That. Like, they somehow extracted DNA out of that.
Yeah, but he takes that off after that and goes back to his normal.
Yeah, that was liquefied when he jumped in the pool.
Yeah, but do you think they'll let a little thing like a technicality stop them?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I think it's more likely that she comes from. Obviously, she's got some influence from Data. Otherwise, she wouldn't look like his daughter in the painting. So if they're using Data's memories, mind, AI, whatever you want to call it, they're using Data himself in some ethereal way inside of an AI construct to create these clones. I'll just call her a clone because that's kind of what she really is. In some way, shape, or form. That's where she's getting her looks from. And something tells me from the way they ended the first episode, another thing that's kind of like, okay, everything that I thought was going to go this way is now thrown out. Now it's going that way. I'm going to speculate that it's the Romulans who are creating these, and maybe they've got Maddox working for them. And that's why the Romulans are coming after them and trying to get them as they're out in the wild. And somehow they got loose somehow, or maybe Maddox got away from the Romulans or whatever. But there's something between Maddox, the Romulans, and the Borg, all 3 together with whatever data they've got left over from Data himself, that it's all wrapped into a nice breakfast burrito. So
the Romulans cloned Picard once before, so they have his genetic material. So that very well could be the love child of Data and Picard.
There you go.
My 2 dads, Star Trek.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, that's a good theory at least. Yeah,
it's a starting theory anyway for what we got so far.
Yeah.
So. but that'll be interesting. I don't think we'll see Jonathan Frakes in the second episode. I think we'll see Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis in the third episode, because that's when he directed.
Maybe.
Yeah, anything can happen, obviously, but I that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, it's possible.
I think you're right, because I think he did an interview early on talking about he had some trouble stepping back into acting because he hadn't done it so long, and I think he made reference to directing Patrick, the previous episode, because you said episode 2 he's the director.
No, episode 2 it's still Hanno Culpepper. Episode 3 is him. 3 and 4 is Jonathan Frakes.
Okay. All right.
I was gonna say, I thought we read somewhere that he doesn't pop up till the end of the season.
Oh, maybe.
I remember doing that news story that he's not.
Yeah, maybe.
I
don't know. That doesn't make sense. He's gonna leave Earth to go and search for Daj's sister. He's gonna do that like.
Well, we don't know that Riker's on Earth.
No, I guess we don't know that he's on Earth. That's true. I kind of assume he's on Earth with Marina Sirtis.
Honestly, I assumed he was in Alaska.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah.
So what do you think? You think he left Starfleet, or do you think he's still? You think he's an admiral and Picard tries to go from?
Retired.
He looks retired. So? Yeah. I don't think he left like Picard left though. I think he just finished out his tenure and was done.
I'm wondering. Because Starfleet said, we're not doing this. We're not doing this rescue thing. And he did it. He tried to do it himself. Is that what, am I remembering that correctly?
That Picard tried to do it himself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he tried.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
maybe he enlisted Riker in that.
I'm wondering if he enlisted Riker and maybe ended his career in the process.
Could have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Riker struck me as like he's more willing to follow the line and go with Starfleet. I mean the whole Stargazer thing too, or the Pegasus.
I think he would do anything that Jean-Luc Picard asked him to.
Yep, that's true.
I think he would willingly throw his career right in the toilet if Jean-Luc Picard told him, "Will, it's the right thing to do."
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you can make arguments either way, but
you could, but the other way would be wrong.
Oh. Wait. How do we know? How do we know that that's our Riker and not Dennis Riker?
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Thomas Riker. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. So. Well, very cool. Is there anything else you guys want to bring up, or?
I think I covered it pretty good.
I would like to see O'Brien pop up at some point. I know he's more of a Deep Space Nine character, but he started on TNG. The last time we heard, he's supposed to be on Earth, teaching at Starfleet Academy. If they had a good way to work him in, I would love to see Colm Meaney again as O'Brien. He's one of my favorites. Just throwing that out there.
Even if they did a scene where there's this FNN news network, which I think is hysterical, by the way. but if there's this FNN news network and they come up there on one of the clips and it's about people are trying to find Admiral Picard, he's gone missing, and you see O'Brien and Bashir like having a reunion, they're playing darts and they both look up at the screen and see each other with quips look on their, that would be good. Just as kind of an aside in the backdrop there.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm excited.
I am excited.
Yeah.
I do think that this was better than Discovery so far. So we'll see. And yeah. So. Well,
all right.
I guess that's it. I'm gonna play the outro.
Yeah, play the outro.
Do it.
Well, there you have it. Another episode in the can. Check us out at trekcast.com. Also, if you would, please subscribe to us via iTunes. Leave those reviews. Subscribe to us. We get some numbers, get up the list, get more listeners, do more shows, have more fun. But for now, we're all done. So live long and prosper, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, now I have to walk from the van to the front door dressed as a Starfleet officer. So this will be fun. All right, guys. Thanks.
See you, man.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.